What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and zoinks! This might be the cringiest commercial I've ever seen. I think I'm more inclined to buy Gillette razors after their famous commercial than Google Stadia. Now, before we get into the commercial, some recent updates. Stadia, in fact, looks like it's been downloaded about 175,000 times in the first 2 weeks. Not exactly anything to write home about, but it's important to have some numbers. Before I get into that, a quick shout out to this video sponsor. Many of you like some options in terms of your digital security. So today's video sponsor is Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN service that makes online privacy protection easy and attainable. Surfshark encrypts all internet traffic sent to and from your devices and ensures that your IP address remains hidden to make sure nobody can see what you're doing online. On top of that, it blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing attempts. And unlike other VPN services, you can use it on as many devices as you'd like simultaneously. There are three main reasons why Surfshark should always be in your pocket while traveling. It saves on mobile roaming data and ensures faster browsing by blocking ads. It protects you from data thieves who seek your passwords, credit card information, etc. while using public Wi-Fi. And it lets you access your favorite content as if you've never left home. You can also access desired entertainment. If you can't find a TV series or movie on any streaming platform in your country, despite paying the fee, try looking in other countries. For instance, The Hub is only available on Netflix UK. With Surfshark, you could choose any country to stream from without even being there. Click the link in the description or go to surfshark.deal/quartering and use my promo code quartering to take advantage of their special Black Friday offer, which is going to give you 83% off plus not one, not two, but 3 free months. Google Stadia app, available both on Android and iOS, may offer the best insight yet to the approximate user base of the newly launched cloud-only game streaming platform. That's because Stadia app is required to purchase games. For some reason, that cannot be done via your PC for the time being. Of course, the app itself can be downloaded without having the actual Stadia account, but that'd be pointless on its own. Now, maybe some people decide to try it out, or I don't know. It's probably, I'd say, let's give it a 10% margin of error. While Sensor Tower has estimated over 175,000 downloads up until November 19th, as reported by Games Industry, Sensor Tower has also added that over 90% of the downloads came from Android platform, which is perhaps unsurprising as iOS cannot currently stream games at all. The United States got the lion's share of download distribution with 41%. Now, some rough numbers, to be honest with you, that means the 10% of people that downloaded it on iOS aren't using it. I mean, so you'd want to cut, let's say, 20,000 people out of the 175,000 right away. And also that only 41% of 175,000, which would be, let's call it, what is that? 4 times 17, 6, call it 70,000. So between 60 and 70,000 downloads in the United States. That's it. In fact, let me just do that math. So if we do 175,000 times 41%, okay, that's 71. Actually, we want to take it times 69%. So 175,000, 175,000 times 0.69, that's 120,000 downloads in the United States. Then you would also cut 10% out of that because they download iOS and they're not even likely a Stadia user then. So a puny 100,000 downloads in the United States is a pretty sad launch for something that is essentially free to download. Certainly not a big launch, which would line up with reports of pre-orders being below expectations. Still, as mentioned above, the figure cannot be taken as an accurate representation from Stadia's subscriber base. For that, we'll have to wait for an official statement from Google, which we probably won't ever get. When we look at the pre-orders, this is back on November 19th, Google Stadia officially launches today, and thus far, response from reviewers and players has been somewhat muted, but people actually buying into the new platform. In order to play the launch, you had to purchase Stadia's Founder Edition or Premier Editions, which come with a Chromecast Ultra and Stadia controller for $129. According to reliable Kotaku insider Schreier, Stadia pre-orders were well below expectations. In fact, Schreier go far to dub the Stadia launch as a monumental flop. Google Stadia is out today and already looks to be a monumental flop. I heard from one person involved that pre-orders were below expectations. Question is, will they eventually stop trying to sell games and switch to an all-you-can-eat subscription model, or just let it die? I don't think Google's going to give up on Stadia that quickly. They're building multiple game studios as we speak, but it was asinine to think that they could sell games at full price on this thing. They need to pivot, even if it means losing some of the biggest AAA games. I agree. They need to... I honestly think they need to figure out how to make it ad-supported. They absolutely have to make it ad-supported. Now, it should be mentioned that Stadia's Founder Edition actually, quote, sold out. The Premier Edition is a replacement. But that doesn't mean a whole lot, as Google has never really revealed how many Founders Editions were being made available. If there were 1 million Founder Editions, sure, selling out's impressive. If there were 50,000, that's less of an accomplishment. Based on Schreier's comments, it sounds like Google was expecting the Founders Edition to move a lot faster. As mentioned, response to Stadia has been mixed thus far, with many games not delivering the visual splendor Google promised. Destiny 2 only runs at 1080p at medium settings. And again, there are bigger problems for whether consumers are ever going to be interested in the Stadia business model. I don't think so. Look, if you're asking people, you can have all the gender-neutral controllers you want, but if you're asking people to pay full price for games that, in this particular case, they already own, all right? So down the line, when you get more games that, say, people don't already own, that may be a better litmus test. But everything I'm hearing from anybody who's reliably played the game or reviewed it, Paul Tassi, for example, the experience is awful. And you just don't come back for that. And, of course, they end up having to respond to initially quoting the future up to 8K 120 FPS. They respond to criticism. Essentially, Stadia streams at 4K and 60 FPS, Google wrote. That includes all aspects of our graphics pipeline from the game to the screen. GPU encoder, Chromecast Ultra are all outputting 4K to 4K TVs with the appropriate internet connection. Developers making Stadia games work hard to deliver the best streaming experience for every game, like you see on all platforms. This includes a variety of techniques to achieve the best over quality. We give developers the freedom to achieve blah, 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 blah. This is, of course, after it was revealed that none of the current games on Stadia are anywhere near 4K. They're 1080p running upscaled to 4K, which is, of course, not true 4K. Quote, we expect that many developers can, and in most cases will, continue to improve their games on Stadia. And because Stadia lives in our data centers, developers are able to innovate quickly while delivering even better experiences directly to you without the need for patches or downloads. Now, it's possible. It's possible. But, again, you only get, in most cases, one chance to launch. And if it's a flop, it always remains a flop. It's very, very difficult to shake off that bad taste you leave in everybody's mouths. And now, this ad, which had dropped a few days ago, which looks like a 5 Gum ad, is probably the most cringe-inducing thing I've ever seen. Google Stadia hasn't had the best month. Its list of launch games was tiny and seemed Google panicked right before launch adding more games. People who pre-ordered were running into issues and couldn't actually use the service, and reviews have been mixed. They were negative. With all that bad news floating around, you might have missed this terrible, awful, cringe-inducing Stadia launch trailer. The first time I watched this trailer, I quickly downloaded it and saved it to my computer. Why? Because it's so bad that I was worried Google might yank it off YouTube and try to hide it. But fortunately, for you, it's still easily viewable on YouTube. It's 2 minutes long and yet feels longer than that. It seems to be trying to tap into the style of humor that was once very popular on the internet, the random for the sake of being random. This was like 70% of YouTube back in 2008. That's fair. And as the style of the internet humor grew in popularity, ad agencies took notice, so insurance and snack food commercials started following this trend with random humor, and really, they haven't stopped. And now Google, in a bid to look relevant and hip, is leaning on this random humor in their Stadia launch trailer. The end result, appropriately for Google, is a video that feels like it was put together by a computer program that used algorithms to determine what young kids and gamers would like to see in an ad. But all their data is like 10 years old. So we end up with an ad that has funny costumes, silly special effects, running gags, a canoe made out of a living human being, lol, so random, so funny. Beyond the random jokes and imagery, the trailer is also filled with some stuff that is worth calling out. For example, they mentioned that unlike consoles, Stadia doesn't take up any space, which is actually not true. At least currently, you still need space for a controller and a Chromecast Ultra, which True, they take up less space, but they do exist in the physical world. Another part of the trailer has a man in a club who later becomes a canoe. Wacky mentioned that Google Stadia has the games you're looking for. Well, that's true if you're looking to play games that you already have or have already been put out on other platforms for months or more. Also, it's true if you want to play any games from the small list of games currently available is writing it today. Comments on the ad range from shock to how bad the ad looks to confusion on who this ad is targeting. A few comments mention how the ad reminds them of those Chew 5 bubblegum commercials. Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look. I mean, I think... Whoop. I want to watch it with you because I think we all need to experience this. I think it's important. It's an important learning experience for all of us. All right, let's turn it down a little bit. It's probably going to be too loud. All right.
Hi, I'm looking for Stadia.
Oh, my God. Who is that? Reggie Watts, right? Is that who that guy is? By the way, the trailer only has 46,000 views, and Google didn't release... Like, who made this? I'm pretty sure this ad is turning people off of Stadia. Stadia has the games you're looking for. 20 games. This commercial tries so hard that it's almost adorable.
What? What's Stadia?
By the way, he's wearing that gender-neutral wasabi green.
Stadia is only the newest, most logic-defying, mind-bending, absurd gaming platform on Earth. Forget box.
Is this supposed to be Asmongold? Hey, Asmongold here.
Platform on Earth. Forget boxes. Forget consoles. Just your games, your screens, and electric air. And this electric air is Stadia.
What is even...
Console. Stadia doesn't take up any space. It makes no noise. It has...
Well, yeah, that is untrue, right? You need the Chromecast, which, you know, is small, but you also, you know, you need the controller, too.
No smell. Watch. Go find Stadia, boy. Don't worry. You'll never find it.
And by the way, who's complaining about game consoles taking up too much room? Is that even a complaint?
Okay. You can play Stadia with this.
Stadia likes to party. Up to 4K 60 FPS.
4K 60 FPS never really happened.
He'll show us.
4K 60 FPS.
Stadia, you can go virtually anywhere. Live anywhere.
This is amazing.
Play with any who.
So we're inside a game. I think I know that guy. Gary.
Stadia is
But they're not showing any of the input lag,
gaming.
or the crashes, or any of that other stuff. This is bizarre.
No downloads, no updates, no waiting. Stadia bends time and space to take you straight to your game.
So Stadia's the plan.
So Stadia's a wormhole?
This is Stadia.
Stadia's streaming pipeline leverages decades of Google research. Is that a dog?
He found it. Ah, okay, that was funny.
Stadia is so impossibly mind-bending, so free to move from screen to screen, so not dependent on downloads or updates. It's like nothing. Nothing you've ever played games on before! Unthink the things
What?
you think are things.
What the hell? Who even wrote this? By the way, did they show... They showed, you know what's interesting? They showed, Borderlands, and it's not even on here. Did anybody else notice that?
Free your mind.
So they're showing games that aren't even on Stadia. That's great.
Wow.
You guys maybe have...
Stadia?
Lol, so random. Go buy Stadia. Have a great day.